So at what point do we stop this generational curse? I decided I was going to stop it. I got my family together on 4th of July. My kids, they had to all come over, and the grandkids, because I'm starting my recorded will and testament series and my financial literacy series with my kids. Now they're all adults, 30, my oldest son is 31, my youngest is 21. And I got 3 grandchildren. But each one of my kids gets a specific amount of money in case something happens to me. It's a combination of my whole life policy, another life policy that I have, along with liquidated assets from various assets, shares and stock in my companies. And so the combination of all of that really is 6 figures for every single one of them, including the grandchildren. Now, in order to get access to that, you're not just gonna, if something happens to me, you're not just gonna get that money. That's not how it works. You have to have a 700 credit score, number one. You have to have a 700 credit score or something equivalent to the credit score at the time frame in that era if something does happen to me. The next thing you have to have is you have to be full-time job, or be gainfully employed, basically, or be in your own business. One of the two, for at least 1 year. For at least 1 year prior to anything happening to me. Prior to. And if not, you need to complete a year. And if you don't have anything at all, you got to start from 0 and build up to 1 year before you can go back in and request access to your inheritance. The next thing is you can't be living with a parent or a family member. You have to be living on your own with your spouse or your better half, or by yourself. You have to show that you can actually sustain and maintain your own place. And the next thing you have to do is you have to come to my financial courses that I teach privately just with them once every quarter. And if you don't attend the financial literacy courses with me to learn how to run and manage this money the right way, then you can't get anything. You'll be erased out of the will. You see? This is how you set it up. Now, for the grandchildren, they get trust funds. And in their trust fund, they get some of the money when they turn 18. They get some of the money when they turn 25, as long as they meet the requirements. And then they get the rest when they turn 30, as long as they meet the requirements. Because you don't give 6 figures to a person that just turned 18 years old. You just don't do it. Where do I get this knowledge from? Where do I get this wisdom from? My friends are billionaires. That's where I get it from. I get it from billionaires, friends of mine. So it's a process of learning how to grow, build, maintain abundance, and then also build legacy building, which is the next big thing. And if you're building a legacy, if you focus on legacy building, you're automatically going to have abundance as a side effect. As a side effect, it's just guaranteed. You can't build legacy without having abundance. It just goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand.
I looked at who created a living trust to hand it down through their legacy, and I said, it's Rockefeller. So I went on to read the Rockefeller Trust from 1934, and also there's a book called What Would Rockefeller Do? So I stayed up reading all these things about how he would take this, put it in an account and only give a portion to the legacy, and then have his children create a trust. And now that money compound interest, he wouldn't give it to them until they turn a certain age. And I'm like, I could do that. We can do that. The information was right there. So I sat down with my trust attorney. I said, I want to do that. Like, well, you want to do it, but I want to do that. It can be done. So we structured it, worked it out where but unfortunately we all pass away. When I pass away, a percentage of my properties would be sold, not the ones that I hold long-term. Like I have properties I do keep. My short-term properties, those would be sold. That money would now go into a brokerage account. That brokerage account would be in the name of the trust. That money for that specific account would be for my grandchildren starting off, not my immediate family. My immediate family would get my life insurance policies, which millions of dollars policies, and the main properties that I hold. So they're taken care of. But we need to start thinking about the grandkids, the great grandkids, those generations. How do you start their growth? You start their growth by putting that money in a brokerage account, and they don't get that money until they turn 21 years old. So let's use the example of $1 million. I put $1 million in a brokerage account for my grandkids. They don't get that till they turn 21, gaining 6% interest. 6% interest, let's say that's 21. So that money turns to about $3.8 million for my grandkids. My grandkids, they wouldn't get it all. They would get half, about 1.6. So I leave 1.6 in there for my great grandchildren for 21 years. That now turns into about 3, 4, 5, 6. That turns into about $6.7 million for my great grandchildren. They don't get it all. They get half. So now that's about 2.3 stays in for my great grandchildren. So they get about $8.1 million. You see how that happens? That's compound interest over 21 years. So we have to look at that number. But what makes the trigger and the explosion even bigger is the fact that what Rockefeller did is that was just his trust. What he did was now each child opened up a trust. So now his children had a trust. So he would pay his grandchildren and his children would pay them. That's twice. So now his children, then his grandchildren have a trust. So his great grandchildren would get paid 3 times. So now if we look at Rockefeller Trust paid out now 11 generations and counting continuously. And what he also did was have a life insurance policy on every person in the trust, creating his own bank. And now what does that do? This is my structure also. Any one of my children or grandchildren who want to start a business, what do? Talk to the trustees. And now you borrow money. We become our own bank. So when someone dies, that money goes into the trust. You pay, when you get the policy, you pay it outright. So now that money is available in the trust. So now also what I did was I retweaked my trust last year, and it was 21 that I wouldn't give them money. I changed it. I changed the way they get money at 18 and they can have a business started at 11. You know why? Because now with technology, kids are now figuring out new ways to start a business.
Financial literacy. Get your credit right. Clean your credit up. From me to y'all, clean your credit up.
That mean everything.
That mean everything. Stop putting everything in your name. Create a business, an LLC. Put everything in your LLC. And open up a C Corp. And if you don't know this, you need to figure these out. I'm telling you the names. Get a C Corp to run an LLC. If you want to make it even deeper, go get a trust fund and run a corp that runs the LLC. You want to get even deeper, own 2 trust funds for your business and your person to run that trust that runs all the business. Trust funds for your business and your person to run that trust that runs all the business. It can get deep, my guy.
Absolutely.
And Donald Trump actually showed me that method. That's how he didn't pay taxes. A kind of that method.
The holding company concept. Why do I want to structure my business around the holding company concept? Here's why. Because your holding company concept is more of an organizational enterprise. Okay? So even if you got the name enterprise, like I got, Ramon Preston Enterprises, it don't mean it's an enterprise because you got the name enterprises. It's just like somebody got the word ministries international and ain't never been out the country. Don't mean you international. It don't mean you got ministries plural. So when we talk about the holding company, this concept is about organizational enterprise. And I'll explain it in a minute. Enterprise. All right. So what am I talking about? This is going to be your parent company. This is going to be your umbrella. So let's just say, for example, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to feel me on this. Let's say you cut hair, right? You cut hair. Or let's say you cut grass. Or let's say you know how to paint houses, right? Or let's say you sell shirts and shoes. I'm just trying to show you how this organizational enterprise works. If you do one of these things, let's say you're just real good at it, and you center your whole business around selling shirts and shoes, well, now this is going to become your ceiling. This is why a lot of entrepreneurs who get into business get bored and they get discouraged, because they tried to build an entire organization around one product, one service, one idea, as opposed to creating an organizational enterprise using a holding company concept. Now, this could have been their first product, but they also had other services, other products that they wanted, and it could have all been done under one organizational enterprise. Now what happens is you open yourself up to greater possibilities. Because as I said, most entrepreneurs and business owners don't just have one idea. They want to sell shirts. They want to sell shoes. They want to create a clothing line with suits and underwear. It don't matter. They want to sell hats. They want to license certain ideas that they have. They want to build an app. I'm not saying all of them going to work, but what I am saying is, instead of me having a haircut business, a grass cutting business, a painting service business, and a shirt and shoe business, I'm going to just create a holding company concept, an organizational enterprise that gives me the leverage and the luxury of having one big umbrella. And then when I have one big umbrella, guess what happens? I'm going to create what we call divisions. So now I'm going to have my clothing division. I'm going to have my shoe division. I'm going to have my hospitality division. I'm going to have my maintenance division. I'm going to have my educational training division. I'm going to have my concert division. I'm going to have my production division. I'm going to have 100 divisions under this one organizational enterprise. So in the event that it doesn't work, it's still under the same umbrella. Or in the event that it does work, guess what happened? That division grows up. Because came up with some product to grow hair fast, and this product just took off. So now this organizational enterprise owns what was a division, and now it's a subsidiary. It's owned by my enterprise. Guess what that does to my organizational enterprise? If I got 5 or 10 different divisions that at some point become their own companies, their own entities, but they're all owned. Guess what that does to my organizational enterprise? It gives my organizational enterprise more purchasing power. This is how you see big companies swallow up smaller companies, because they have organizational enterprises, and now they got more purchasing power. They got more room to grow. You see Amazon doing it. They have so many different divisions. They ain't just selling books no more. They ain't just doing movies no more through Prime. They getting into food. They bought out Whole Foods. You see Walton Enterprises doing it through Sam's and through Walmart stores. So now they're getting into banking. They got other divisions that they created that took off, that became subsidiaries. So when you think of the first aspect of the structure pillar, the first aspect is about you choosing the right entity. And my personal recommendation is, when you choosing the right entity, is based on a holding company concept. And you might be saying, Ramon, this is just too complicated, man. Like, I just want to go to City Hall and I just want to get me a business license. No, you don't, because you're thinking small. You got to expand your things. You got to go back to the first pillar, which is the setup pillar. You have to create a company legacy and a company philosophy. You got to change your views and your values. You got to change your think. You got to change your goals. They're too small. They ain't gonna be enough for you to eat. You want you to eat. You want your spouse to eat. You want your kids to eat. You want your in-laws to eat. You want your nieces and nephews to eat. See, I'm creating something so big that I want to make sure that anybody in my family that want to work for me or with me in my organization will be able to. My son, when he got at the end of school and he realized, you know what? First thing he said, Pops, I want to be with the family business. Guess what? I was in a position, because I created an organizational enterprise, I was in a position to say, come on, you ain't got to go to college then. Your college is going to be OJT. You're going to learn from the best. You're going to learn from your boy. And I'm going to show you the game. This is your legacy right here. And we're going to create a division in our enterprise that's going to be focusing on what you know you're amazing at, which is why he the cameraman behind the camera. He's the social media manager. He's doing his thing. He's making it happen. But guess what? He's building an entire division which at some point will be a subsidiary under the organizational enterprise, booming and banging because we making it happen.
So the vision has to be simply what you see for yourself, what you see for the collective in the world, because vision is inclusive. But most people only know desire. Desire is selfish. Desire is what you want. And most people are not willing to sacrifice their desires for the vision. And the vision is inclusive of everyone. If I got a 2053 vision, it don't just include myself. It includes my people and my family. So we have to be a visionary people. What is your vision is the question. So when a person asks what's the future going to be, and we have to look for every other community, and we get afraid of metaverse because we only thinking about everybody else's vision for it. We don't have a vision for what we go use the technology for. We don't like the NFT because we don't have a vision for it. We don't like the stocks. We don't like none of these things that pop up because we don't have a vision, because we depend on everybody else's vision to guide us through our darkness. See, everything that I do, I have a vision. I'm not worried about Zuckerberg's vision for something. I'm not worried about Jack Dorsey or Elon Musk's vision or Bill Gates' vision. What's mine? His vision is to depopulate. I want us to repopulate. We got different visions. So if you walking around here without a vision, you blind. And then you allowing somebody else that's blind lead you. There should be not a single person on this planet Earth that don't have a vision. Whether you helping somebody else's vision being brought into reality that's beneficial towards you, or you have your own. But to be walking around here and a person asks you what your vision is and you don't have one, it means that you are blind. You can't see farther than the next day. You can't see farther than the insecurities. Well, I need to be with somebody. Well, I need to get some money. What's your vision? Do you sit down and go within the mind and imagine the entire reality that you want to have brought out? Vision is more powerful than circumstance. Vision is more powerful than circumstance. Your imagination can give you resources that you don't physically have, because everything exists in the mind, then reality.
Let's talk about it. You want to start a business. What business do you want to start? How much does it cost? You got to come up with a whole plan. Ain't just no idea. What's the plan? What's the plan? What's the business plan? This the business. I don't care if it's a car wash. You want to start a car wash? I don't got a problem with that. Nobody has a problem with that. What's the business model? Let's talk about it. What's the business model? What are you putting inside the car wash? What's the security around a car wash? What are the estimated revenues? How do you expand and grow? Do you have one car wash? Do you have 5 car washes? Give me the whole business plan. Write it out for me. How are we just doing one car wash? Are we scaling it to 5 car washes? What's the goal? Because if the business, because now the family now acts as a silent investor. Now you ain't got to go to the bank and go in debt. What are we doing? What are we doing? You feel me? You want to start a barbershop? I'm not mad at you for starting a barbershop. Let's talk about it. What's the idea? Tell me about, do you want to have one barbershop? Do you plan on branching out to have 5 barbershops? What are we doing? Are you trying to franchise this thing? What are you doing? Because it's the reason why we building a pot is so we can keep investing in ideas. That's the only way we're going to go. That's the only way you're going to go is if we willing to do that. Right? But how you plan to get us there? The company on own. And so now, we start the barbershop, and here's what we do. The barbershop is yours. The family is part owner of the shop because we putting up the money. So the family now, we giving you the loan, we may own 80% of it. You may own 20% of it. But check it out. Once you pay us the loan back, we'll say, okay, cool. You pay the loan back to the family. That's perfect. Now let the family now own 20% of it. 30% of the company, 70-30 now. Right? Let the family come and invest 70-30. Now the company stays in. The family is an owner. A part of the business that you own. We ain't come and do nothing. We sit out. That's, you know what I'm saying? We don't got to be crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it's not nothing that's going to happen overnight. Everybody got to buy in. Everybody got to buy in. right? Everybody got to buy in. And the thing about it is, and I'm 100% heavy on it is, if you don't invest in it, you can't reap nothing from it. If you can't invest in it, if you can't commit to saying, I want to invest $100, $200 a month in this, if you can't invest in it, you can't reap nothing from it.